the Ryder Cup. How was your experience overall that week?
So fun. My gosh. It was actually it was fun. The team was funny. We all ate in the same room, so that was cool.
Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports. We got a lot of history to talk about in the professional golf world. We got a big show just to kind of give you a quick run through. We've got Xander Schauffele, who's the current world number 5, on the show with Dan Rappaport interview. We got Dunlap, amateur, first time winning as an amateur on the PGA Tour. First time we've had that since 1991, which was Phil Mickelson. We got some rumors in the Tiger Woods world that were actually kind of confirmed by our friends at TaylorMade, which is a little bit of a sensitive issue for us to talk about. We haven't talked to TaylorMade directly at all, but we obviously have to discuss Tiger Woods' potential apparel going forward. We got Rory McIlroy with another win. Jack Nicklaus turned 84. And we got a lot to get to. Dan, I haven't listened to the interview yet. Xander, big name in the golf world. What do you guys talk about?
I was excited to talk to him because I feel like of all the top 10, like he's been in the top 10. I was looking at his world ranking. He's been in the top 10 in the world for the last 5 years, pretty much consecutively. He's dropped out for like a couple weeks, but he's been a mainstay in the top 10. I feel like he's just someone that you don't really know very much about. And I think he kind of likes it that way. So I was very excited to kind of sit down with him, and I interviewed him a bunch in kind of a formal setting, but just to chat and get to know him. We talked a lot about the Ryder Cup, a lot about the media situation with his dad, and about the hats. We talked about live golf and live speculation. We talked about what he likes to do for fun. It was just I just was excited to get to know him on a more personal level. And so I think that we did that. It was fun. It was a good interview.
I was wondering if you were going to touch on some of the Ryder Cup stuff, because he and his boy Cantlay there became sort of public enemies number 1 and 2. I feel like on anti-American, they're only going to play for money. They almost left the team and all that. So I wasn't sure if you're going to touch on that. Sometimes we on this show can be a little bit soft and veer away from those types of things.
Yeah, I mean, you had to. And it was interesting because he's so like non-offensive. He's such like a chill person. So it really doesn't. It's hard to compute that he's the one who like started that whole thing. And when you talk to him, he like doesn't seem to care about anything. So it makes you think that like everyone has everything wrong about him, and then he just like doesn't really give a shit. But I don't know. I think you guys will judge for yourself. But very interesting interview and an interesting player. And he finished like 3rd last week, so it was nice to see.
Xander, yeah, he's a big fucking name, and yeah, like you said, people don't hear from him a lot. So second half of the show, you got a little Xander Schauffele action. Huge thanks to everybody who bought merchandise. The Phoenix Open stuff that we put on sale last week, pretty much everything in terms of the online inventory is sold out, except for, I believe, the Navy t-shirt, which is awesome. So if you're still looking for something online, you're not going to be at the tournament, go to store.barstoolsports.com, check that stuff out. PGA Tour, us, our merchandise team coming together, created great gear. People obviously liked it because, like I said, pretty much all sold out. It'll be in the tent. So when you're still going to the event, I would say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I would be surprised if it's not still there. But boy, by Thursday, Friday, Saturday last year, pretty much sold out of it. Sometimes they try to do or we on our side try to do, we'll keep X amount stashed away so that we have some stuff on Thursday, some stuff on Friday, but also we just want to sell out of stuff because that's good. That means, we have that as something in our arsenal that we can say for future events when we try to get merchandise that we sold out. So if you're going to try to get it at the tournament, go earlier in the week, try to get it. But the gear's awesome. We sold out of almost all of it. So big thanks to everybody.
Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. It's a vibrant color for sure. Like this hat I'm wearing is just green and yellow. It's right in your face, but it's sold out in the first day. So people love the colors. People love the waste management. They love that 16th hole. And I can't wait to be there and seeing everyone rocking the gear on the 16th. It's great. That t-shirt, the t-shirt that we still have in our store is one that will sell out probably first in the tent. Because it's just those graphic tees. They go like crazy when you're at these tournaments. So if you're going to the tournament, if you're going to the waste management, order that now. You'll get it in time. Make sure that you get it because it's going to be the graphic tee stuff and the hoodies go like that at these tents. It's nuts. Like the first day, we saw it last year. We have proof. We have data. So yeah, just make sure you go and grab that stuff. And thank you to everyone. It's amazing stuff. Watching it, just refreshing and seeing all the numbers come in. You're like, how the hell every single year do people keep wanting to get this stuff? And they just do because that's a credit to our team. Our merch team just figures out a way to make it relevant and cool and different and like with the times, as the kids say. So yeah, I love
that
it.
People's Open hat. I think that People's Open hat, I think, is one of the best items we've ever sold, and that was very clear.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. Riggs has got it right
really
there.
good.
Sold out in like 5 minutes. So yeah, our merch team obviously does a great job. I mean, they know what people want.
I got a phone call from one of our good buddies about this hat who missed the drop on Wednesday and was like, how can I get one of those hats? I think I'm going to reserve this one for a good friend of ours. But yeah, our team does a great job. And like you said, sometimes you panic thinking like, oh my God, we're doing another merch drop. Is nobody going to buy it? And we're going to have to give this stuff away on the street. And we sold through pretty much all of it. So big thanks to everybody. My rim sleep last night was incredibly higher than it's been in a very long time. I got that. I returned from a little quick weekend in Colorado with the family. I got back to my 8 sleep mattress top that I've got, and I got the best sleep that I've gotten in a very long time. I had 89% recovery. I slept for 8 hours and 4 minutes. Today's episode is brought to you by our great friends at 8 Sleep. They are the high-tech solution to your age-old sleeping issues. The 8 Sleep Pod 3 cover slips right over your mattress. Here's the deal. You go on, you got this app right here on your phone, put this thing on there, the 8 Sleep Cover Pod, and you just can select right here exactly how you would like your bed to be temperature-wise. If you want it to be 60 degrees, if you want it to be 80 degrees, whatever works for you. And then my favorite part of the whole thing is obviously it very smartly detects your sleeping patterns, how you like it, when you sleep your best, and it just kind of monitors and changes the temperature throughout because it understands that you, this person that is sleeping, sleep best, you get the most REM sleep, all of that stuff when the bed is at X. And then I set the alarm, which is my favorite feature. The alarm gradually wakes me up around the time that I would like to be woken up. So instead of setting my alarm on my phone for 6 a.m., and it's like somebody's trying to break out of fucking Alcatraz when your phone goes off, which is there's no way that's a healthy way to wake up. The 8 Sleep alarm starts to gradually vibrate just a little bit. So and it warms up, which Frankie loves. It leads up to it, and it's right. It warms up leading up to it because it's best. It's all the science proves that it's best to wake up as you're warm, you're surrounded in coziness. So instead of waking up cold and with an alarm blaring in your eardrum, this alarm on my 8 Sleep mattress just starts to lightly vibrate. It starts to warm up and it wakes you up that way. So this thing is insane. This 8 Sleep covered top, there's no better way to improve your day-to-day life than with better sleep. We all know that. We hear that all the time. The easiest way to do that is with 8 Sleep's Pod 3. So start the new year right. Invest in the rest you deserve with the 8 Sleep Pod. Go to 8sleep.com/4 and you can get $200 off plus free shipping on the pod cover by 8 Sleep. That's 8sleep.com/4. Get $200 off. Videos available everywhere. We've got the Casa de Campo, I believe the conclusion of our Casa de Campo trip coming out this week. So both videos from Teeth of the Dog, right? So we've got kind of their flagship course at Casa de Campo, Teeth of the Dog. It's Pete Dye on the ocean, spectacular golf course. I saw our buddy Luke Kwan was down there this last week. He's posting all kinds of insane footage. So if you follow him on Instagram, we've got all that same footage coming out as well. It's myself and Dan playing a alternate shot against Francis and Frankie, front 9 holes at Teeth of the Dog, their most iconic course there. And then our second video of the week coming out, again, available everywhere, is something a little different that we did, which was reverse shotguns, which was 2-person scramble that, we were trying to get, we were on vacation. We're in the Dominican. It was beautiful out. And boy, did it turn into a fun match where you essentially could, if somebody made a shot, you could at any time choose on your own to shotgun a beverage, and then they would have to replay that shot. So by shotgunning something, you were basically earning the right to tell them to have to hit it yet again. It got a little bit sloppy. It was fun. It was incredibly competitive. It was beautiful out there. So we got a couple big banger videos coming out.
That is a video I cannot wait to watch as a viewer. I was at the time riddled with food poisoning, so I could not make it out there. But when you guys came back to the house, I was like, I think these guys did a video that was different than any other video we've ever done because they're all real happy. They're all a little goofy. And yeah, I mean, the reports from it are that it's incredible. So it's something like we've never really done. So I cannot wait to watch it personally.
I like how I think that was after, was that the day after we had that big powwow where we were like, okay, we had this like big sit down powwow about what we need to do as a YouTube brand, and the next day we just drank like 15 beers on the golf course because that was like something different, and we were going to try to do something different.
Got to get better Wi-Fi, Dan. I don't know what else to tell you. I feel like it's been several months now. I just can't.
Oh,
Do you have a
got
solution?
bad Wi-Fi, my friend.
Yeah, I have a solution.
Does he know?
But I like the mystery
okay.
of it. You never really know what you're going to get.
Yeah, that's true.
I think
That
what
is
he was,
true.
I mean, we don't know if his stuff got recorded, which I'm sure it did, but I think what he's trying to say is we had a huge like content meeting at the house in Casa de Campo in the Casa about
Nice.
just like what our ideas were going to be, how we were going to change things up. Sometimes it's just like we were just going and golfing, and that's really all it was. And like, how can we switch it up? We filmed this in December?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a cool like first, like let's go out there, we'll do a scramble, we'll get really competitive, and then we'll see how we can kind of change things up. And it definitely was a change up. I mean, Francis brings it yet again, just like he did in the good videos. But it's definitely a new style foreplay video with the same type of competition, the same type of we wanted to win, do anything you can to win. And yeah, when you add the adult beverages, it definitely starts to get sloppy. But that was fun. I mean, you see all these types of videos all the time on YouTube, and anywhere and everywhere actually. And it was fun to try one and do one, like to actually be like, oh, how ridiculous can this YouTube video get? And it didn't even get that ridiculous. It stayed very, very much golf. Because the reverse mulligans, that idea is like, make the putt, do it again. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Make the putt and then do it again. How many times do you want to make me make this putt? And if you're making putts, the other team's just ossified.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that format.
Very
I think that's
strategic.
great.
It got incredibly strategic. Obviously, you would think it would get sloppy, and it wasn't crazy sloppy. It was maybe a fraction sloppy, but for the most part, it was just strategic. You're trying to do this. It was only 9 holes, so it wasn't like you could get fall over drunk by the end of 9 holes, but you could get into a pretty goofy, fun state. So it's a great video. We've got a couple of those coming out, Teeth of the Dog, all 18 combined throughout those 2 videos, which again is an iconic course. Stunning, all the visuals, everything about it. So Casa was awesome. Big thanks to them for having us, and this kind of the conclusion of that. Rough and Rowdy, Barstool's back with Rough and Rowdy on Thursday night. So a little bit different. Usually it's a Friday or Saturday. This is Thursday night. It's $20. I think usually it's closer to 25 or $30. So $20, Rough and Rowdy, dozens of fights, ring girls, the whole deal. If you have not experienced Rough and Rowdy yet at this point in your life, I implore you to experience it at least once. If you have, then you know it's awesome and you just need a reminder. But you order this bad boy, you invite some friends over, you have a couple drinks, maybe you make little $1 wagers on each fight or something. But Rough and Rowdy, Frankie's been there, he's held the camera forever. I've been to a couple of them. It might be the coolest thing that we do, the craziest thing that we do with the commentary, Dave, Dan, everybody that probably doesn't get enough attention. And we're just back on Thursday night.
It's phenomenal content.
Really,
we live in a world where everything's kind of the same. There's 19,000 different golf brands all making different videos. Rough and Rowdy is just so unique and so different. And you go up there, you go there, and you're going to these random parts of West Virginia and these places that you just can't even believe are real places. Like you see some of the characters that pop up into this ring, and you're like, holy smokes, how is this even real? And they are putting their lives, like they are fighting for everything, their families, their reputations. Like it has so much meaning. And when you're down there and you're actually at a Rough and Rowdy, you get like caught up and you get like emotional where you realize that these guys are legitimately like they're fighting for like a lot, and they're out there and it means everything to them. Like that means that fight, that crown, that belt means everything. And it's right there in the ring. You could feel it. It's thick. I used to feel their blood, sweat, and tears coming off me too when I was in the ring. That was a nightmare. Luckily, we've realized that like professional cameramen can do the same. Like Dave always used to be like, only Frankie can get the good stuff on the ring. So he has to stand up there with an 85-pound camera on his shoulder. That absolutely ended up making him get elbow surgery. But there's like, it's like, no, like any guy, like I think I was getting like the girls' asses like from the ring girl contest. It's like, I think if we just tell whoever's up there to do that, I think they can figure that out. So
I think Spider did it for a long time too. I don't know who does it now, but
I think if you look up there, there's just like a random guy. I could be wrong. It could still be Spider. I'd be stunned if it's still Spider up there.
It might be. It might be.
Especially because Spider, I mean, that camera was a lot for you. Spider's like half your size, so that camera's got to be giving
Spider came up
Spider
to
all
me
kinds
at
of health
a
issues.
Spider came up to me at a Barstool Classic and was like, "I'm 130 now." I was like, "Well, that was like a big weight for him." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, he told
He's
me.
a
I
feather.
thought he was lying to me. He said he got down to like 110 at one point. I was like, "What's
Oh
happening,
my
dude?
god!
You're tiny as it is." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm big right now." I'm like, I could still throw you across this property, but yeah, Rough and Rowdy is the best. I mean, it really is so much entertainment.
BuyRNR.com. That's where you need to go. It's BuyRNR.com. I was all over it. I was hunting. I was close. I was sniffing. It's BuyRNR.com. So if you haven't done it, go to BuyRNR.com. $20. Have yourself a great Thursday night. Barstool Classic reminder: next week, January 30th, noon Eastern. It goes on sale for the general population, for everybody. So have everything ready. BarstoolClassic.com. Be ready to rock. Sign up. A bunch of the venues sell out in, I would say, 2 to 3 minutes. So if you want to get in, if you have all your information, you will get in. You just need to be ready to go January 30th, a week from today when this podcast comes out. Be ready to go. BarstoolClassic.com. You can go check out the schedule right now. You can go check out the venues and just be ready. We love the Barstool Classic. So quick reminder on that bad boy. All right, let's hop into some topics of discussions, current events in the golf world. First one, big one, obviously Nick Dunlap, sophomore at Alabama, which is crazy, 20 years old, which is outrageous. Goes out there, fires a 12 under 60 to get himself a 3-shot lead, goes into the final round. He's playing with Sam Burns and Justin Thomas. JT obviously has the career that he has. Everybody knows JT is one of the biggest stars in our game. Sam Burns has got a handful of PGA Tour victories. He's also got a victory over the four-man scramble, which not a lot of guys on tour can say. I think he's got the only regulation win ever against the four-man scramble. So he's got a hell of a resume. Dunlap goes out in the final group. Final threesome with these two guys. Not with his best stuff. Clearly shot a 12 under 60 the day before. He makes a double on 7 after hitting it in the water. Yet he makes some big putts up and downs to keep himself in it. Sam Burns, shockingly, hits it in the water on 17, hits it in the water again on 18, makes back-to-back doubles. Dunlap under probably the most pressure I could possibly imagine. So I don't know that you could have more pressure than he must have been feeling. We've talked endlessly on this show about ourselves being in certain positions, whether it was the Barstool Ryder Cup, whether it was Trent on the 18th tee at Abaco Club in the Good Ryder Cup video. Like, we talk about how at some point you just reach a level of the maximum pressure in terms of nerves and competition that one can feel. I don't know that he could have felt more. There's water left down the entire hole. He's watching Sam Burns hit it in the water all over the place. Wipes one out to the right, gets up and down, makes a 5'9" putt, I believe they said it was, on the shot link to win, the first amateur to win on tour since 1991, which is fucking crazy. That's such a long period of time. We've had amateurs be up there, be close, be in the mix. And for him to get it done, Bama, coach, family fluid, and the whole deal, insanely fucking impressive what we witnessed from this 20-year-old kid.
Yeah, huge nutsack, huge massive ball sack is what I said on Twitter.com.
You here?
I'm here. The amateurs are just different these days. They just are. Like, I don't know if we've talked so many times about like the youth movement and how the kids are more advanced and better at a younger age. He's head to toe in Adidas. Like, he just looked like a PGA Tour pro out there. The amateurs, it used to be like there was a different look. They had these like bags, these stand bags, and they had these logos that they're golf course logos. Now it's like these kids are pros and they've grown up with TrackMan and they've grown up with better instruction and they play on these college teams that fly around private everywhere. Michael Thorbjornsen, who we shot a video with a couple of years ago, is the number one college player right now at Stanford. He finished 11th this week on the DP World Tour. So the gap between the best players in the world and the college players just isn't really there anymore. And this kid believed that he could win. His family flew out there, which I thought was actually like kind of a sign that he wasn't that nervous. It was like if they were worried about freaking him out, they wouldn't have flown out there, the whole squad. Instead, they all come. He closes the deal. He had every chance to blow it on the back nine as Sam Burns, who is a big-time player, Ryder Cupper, was up there shot for shot. He looked Sam Burns in the eye, and it's Sam Burns who blinked first. Burns, after Dunlap hit that shot on the green on 17, Burns completely unraveled. So for him to completely for him to go toe to toe and have Burns be the one who blinked, I think it was just a testament to how advanced and how ready to win these college kids are.
It was amazing.
Frankie, you
it
have
was
any,
an amazing,
you have any thoughts,
amazing.
Frankie? Ball sack thoughts on this?
Yeah,
whole thing?
absolutely. I just want to talk about this kid's ball sack.
Let's
It's a
talk
ball
about the
sack.
kid's ball sack.
Just a
Yeah.
huge, massive ball sack to be able to stand up there. I was texting all my buddies as this was happening. You're watching this thing. There's a lot going on at the time, right? The NFL football was coming down to the wire. You've got this guy who's clearly just trying to survive out there, like Danny said, against some of the best golfers in the world. Sam Burns was just on fire. It seemed like he couldn't miss. I mean, even Danny tweeted out, I think it was Danny that tweeted out prior to the week that he went out and shot like a 60 in his practice round the round before starting at the Amex, and you're like, holy shit, this guy's gonna go out and win. And he did end up playing to the point where you thought he was gonna win, which is incredible that he was that hot for all week. And then you see him having to make that up and down on 18. It's like a weird lie. He hits somebody in the crowd. It's like a downhill lie, but he has to get it up because like it's an elevated green from where he is. And you're like, there's no way he makes an up and down here. He probably hits it to 10 feet and misses the putt and they go to a fucking playoff. There's no way. And he just nips this wedge so aggressively. It goes past the pin. He tried to make it. The guy tried to fucking make it with that kind of pace. And that putt, I mean, I don't know how long was that putt? Was it 6 feet? Was it 5 feet?
Just under 6 feet, I believe they said.
Just under 6 feet. To be able to make that, I mean, I missed that 1,000 times out of 1,000 with everything over it. I got weak knees. I want to puke out of my mouth. And he's just takes everything out. He takes everything out of his world and just says, I'm going to make this putt and then I'm going to celebrate. And my coach is going to try and hand me a milkshake at the end. I'm going to deny it and I'm going to have an awkward hug. Did you see that when he tried to hand him that little drink at the end? He's like, no, I'm not going to take that. I'm just going to hug you. It's so funny. But he did good. He did good. He was emotional. His whole family was there. They went crazy. I love the kid. That was awesome. That was really cool. JT was awesome with them walking up 18, being like, that's your first guy you've hit. He's like, no, I've actually hit I think I hit someone on every single hole at the US Open. So I think that's not the first time I've done that. Great. It was great television. History in the desert was, I think, what I think was the call from the announcer booth, which was unbelievable. It's like, all right, we got the miracle call and we've got Nick Dunlap winning the Amex.
Dude, it is like the tournament, no offense to the Amex, but the tournament aspect is just, it's just not a historic aesthetic. Like he's coming up this like fake hole in like the desert. That's like, it's a resort course where you go to fuck around with some buddies or you retire for the weekend and they're trying to bring it and like compare it to basically winning the Masters. And you're like, well, it's the fucking Amex. Like if he misses the fairway by an inch, all the grass is
history.
It's like, no, it is, but it's like dormant grass he's hitting it into, and then he's trying to avoid like the fake rock wall and the wall, and it's like that aspect of it was very funny.
It is history, and it's obviously an incredible accomplishment. But Jordan Spieth ruined all the graphics that came out yesterday because he won when he was like 19. So you would think when an amateur wins, you're like, oh, this is the youngest guy who's ever won a PGA Tour event. But Jordan Spieth all those years ago was like, I'm 19 years old. I'm not an amateur, but I won this tournament. I always thought I had to put that in every little graphic where it was like second youngest winner because Jordan Spieth was a freak when he won when he was a kid.
That does ruin it a little bit for me. I mean, in no way, shape, or form is it take away from his accomplishment, but like just the idea that he just wants to stay in college at this point of his life, like he has an A next to his name as opposed to like if he just turned pro like Jordan Spieth earlier. It's like you're just the youngest, right? Like there's just a huge difference right there. But yeah, I mean, now he's got some decisions to make.
Hockey, you get that occasionally because hockey players in college are pretty fucking old generally, or a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time. And you'll get like a 24-year-old senior on a team making like a Frozen Four run. And you're like, well, Connor Bedard is 18 and he's in the AHL. He's fucking 6 years younger than this guy. So the age thing, I agree. It does make it kind of tricky. Some decisions to be made. I think everybody immediately jumped to like Liv is going to offer this guy a ton of money and he's 20 years old. It'd be crazy for him not to take or entertain that. And Liv, they love to jump at anyone who's got sort of a little nuanced connection to something in the golf world that Liv can basically take away and steal. It was Henrik Stenson, when he was the captain of the European Ryder Cup team. You obviously had Cam Smith when he wins like the 100th, 150th Open Championship at St. Andrews. Now you've got this kid he's the first guy to win as an amateur on the PGA Tour since 1991. Like Liv just loves to take those kinds of guys. So you got to think he's going to get a hell of an offer from them. versus
Also, yeah.
going on the tour, like it's just still kind of a meritocracy that he's going to have to earn out there.
Yeah, but he's starting at such an incredible place because he's into all of the signature events, he's into all of the majors. All he has to do is turn pro on Monday, and he's into absolutely everything.
Yeah. So what is it? So I saw there was not confusion, but people were asking like, the payout for yesterday's tournament, that they pretend like he doesn't exist and everyone else gets the payout.
Bezaid Hope gets the winner's check. It's like as if he wasn't even playing at all. It just slides down to like one spot.
Yeah, you could tell Bezadenhout knew that too, I think, because man, he gave a big, like pretty big fist bump when he made that putt to get him like within one stroke, which could have gotten him in a playoff and won the tournament still, so it was relevant. But a little bit more like when you're down 2 and you're pretty like unlikely to win the tournament, he gives a big fist bump on the 72nd hole. He was all fired up for a guy that's usually pretty reserved. I think he knew that check's probably coming his way.
Yeah, the check. But I think with Dunlap, it's like one of the hard thing about the PGA Tour is earning your spot into all those tournaments. But he's already into them now. I mean, I would be surprised if he's not a professional by the time this podcast comes out. He committed to the Farmers Insurance Open. I mean, his life completely flipped in one afternoon. If he loses in a playoff, he's going back to school, like almost assuredly, and he's getting some invites and stuff. But he's going back to school. He makes that putt, and now everything is different. He's a professional golfer probably on Monday. He's not going back to school. He's playing in the Farmers. He's in all the majors. He's 68 in the world already. So he skipped from being like a really, really, really good college player, not the best, but a really, really good college player, to now just a top-level PGA Tour pro because he's into every event this year.
There's a very funny video that I'm just looking on Instagram of a kid on Zaire Golf account, a little kid that has like the sickest swing of all time, and they're like 2044 Masters champion. In the background, it's just Trent, like one of our videos is just like paused on the screen. Like they clearly had just been watching a foreplay video. And the dad is like filming his son's swing. It's incredible. I mean,
really?
Oh yeah, he's like 4 years old, but like, and I'm trying to think of something funny to say. I'm just
if
like,
he wants a future in
why.
golf, he shouldn't be watching my videos, is what I would say.
No, I think that's why he's got that swing. Is because he's got Trent and like Lurches back there. I think it's the Rory video. It's very funny.
That's very funny.
TaylorMade's going to get quite a shout out, but if we're going to talk about Nick Dunlap winning, we're going to talk about Rory McIlroy winning. We're going to talk about the fact that Team TaylorMade had just a phenomenal weekend. Both guys using the new QI10, 10K inertia. Everybody's talking about it. We talked about it, how much better it is for us, how much we enjoy it, how much my driving's better. People can go watch the good videos. I saw a couple tweets come out after we put those good videos out and after the QI10 stuff came out. And people were like, I'm noticing that Riggs was using that and he was hitting it way better during that, which is true. 331.4 yards averaged for Dunlap this last week as an amateur on the PGA Tour. That ranked second in driving distance. Clearly, he drove it incredibly well throughout the entire week. That's why he was able to shoot 29 under and win the event. Rory McIlroy, who we're going to jump to next, his QI10, he was 329.6 yards on average. He had 10 drives over 340 yards, including 5 different drives that were over 350 yards. He won for the 4th time at the Dubai Desert Classic. He had some very interesting things to say, Rory. He was kind of highlighting, once again, this Brooks Koepka story from last year. He said, last year at Augusta, I learned a lot about myself. He told the story, once again, of Friday at the Masters. He's on the first green. Brooks Koepka's on the 8th green. Rory says he saw the big leaderboard, realized he was 10 shots behind at that point. He went on to say, I was 10 back after 2 days this week and ended up winning the golf tournament. That's massive for my mindset. I feel like I've taken that learning already and put it into practice. And then he went on to talk a lot more about kind of his legacy, his career, where he's at. And he said, as a kid, I wanted to do what Tiger Woods did. He said, I'll probably not have the career that Tiger's had, but I still look at the trophies that I've won, and my name is on some of those trophies that he is on as well. I don't know a better way of quantifying success in this game as putting your name on the trophies that the people before you have put their names on. And he really kind of went on and went deep into this whole concept of, sure, I'm not going to win as many majors, or I'm not going to probably win 82 times like Tiger Woods did. Rory has 24 wins in 4 majors, but he was like, if I could put my name on pretty much every big trophy, then that's kind of how he's qualifying his success. And I was looking it up, and he's done a pretty goddamn good job of that. He obviously hasn't won the Masters, but he has won Players Championship. He's obviously won the other 3 majors. He talks about winning the Canadian Open and winning the Australian Open is something he's talked about over the last couple months because, certain events that you could just get your name on those trophies. I looked it up. He's 5-2 as a team member in the Ryder Cup. So Europe's won 5 Ryder Cups. He's become a huge part of the Ryder Cup. Obviously 16, 13, and 4 overall. So Rory gets a lot of shit sometimes. He hasn't won a major in forever and all that. But if you look at that guy's career and kind of how he's quantifying things, and this is his 17th, I believe, European Tour victory. He's got 24 PGA Tour victories, 4 majors, like I said. He's going to be 30. He's not even 35 years old yet. Rory's had a pretty fucking amazing career for someone that we just look at as like he hasn't won a major in a decade.
That's what happens when you win 4 when you're 25 years old, though. The expectations just go like he screwed himself a little bit. You win that many when you're that young, and anything less than 10 majors is viewed as like a slowing down situation, you know? Whereas you're right, it's not fair. It's all we talk about. It's like until he wins that Masters, none of this actually really matters. And it's not fair. You know, he can win Phoenix, or he can win LA, and he can win the players, but until it wins Augusta, it's not really going to change the narrative. And I've thought that's like kind of a curse. I think golf wise, he's kind of in a tough place where nothing that he does, winning another Dubai Desert Classic, he's won it 4 times. Everyone just kind of opens their eyes and they're like, "Oh, what's he gonna do at Augusta?" And it's not fair, but that's the expectations he set for himself, sort of, not intentionally, but that's what happens when you win 4 majors by the time you're 25 years old.
Also, if you ask guys from that generation, which is funny to refer to it that way, but he is the guy. Like, if you ask who's the best guy from that generation, it's Rory. And again, that means nothing, I guess, if you don't have a green jacket. But usually guys, certainly later on in their career, they like how their peers feel about them becomes very important. And at least how it stands right now, you ask guys from who came up with Rory, they're like, he's the guy. And he did win 4 immediately, and it felt like he was going to win 20. And he still got 4 10 years later after the 4th. But yeah, he's fucking Rory. Like, he's probably a little disappointed, I'm sure, with where his career has gone in terms of majors. But like all the reasons that Riggs laid out, like he's won everywhere and he's won a lot of the big tournaments. He just hasn't won as many as we all thought he was going to win.
Big week for history and for legacy. Like Nick Dunlap, it's hard. The reason that story was so amazing is because we know what winning on tour means. We know how hard it is and how it hasn't happened for an amateur to win on tour in 33 years. It's hard, if you don't know history, if your league doesn't have history, it's hard to have those kind of statistics. And then Rory talking about putting his name on these trophies that people have had before. It is part of our game. Like, for better or for worse, it is part of our game that Phil Mickelson did something 33 years ago and no one's done it since. And then doing it because no one's done it to Phil, that still means something.
Yeah. No, it means everything. Look, I'm going to replant my flag for however many nth time as just a massive, massive Rory guy. I think Rory for me is clearly my favorite non-Tiger Woods player in professional golf. He just is. He will be. Yes, there's been ups and downs. We've had to respond to him. Is he backtracking on this or that? None of it matters for me. He's candid as fuck. When he cried after the Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits because he was so emotionally devastated about his own performance in Europe not getting it done, when he put himself out there as the guy in front of the PGA Tour and then had to not backtrack, but he had to obviously then be honest about what he was wrong about, what panned out differently than he said he would. When he's out there putting his heart on his sleeve, trying to win tournament after tournament, when he takes a jab at Greg Norman after he won the Canadian Open, the fact that he's that emotional, he's throwing clubs in the water sometimes, other times he's out there just talking to his kid Poppy, whatever it might be. He's trying. I just love Rory. I love Rory. He's candid. Whenever he did his video with us, he was the nicest guy on the fucking planet. He was inquisitive. He's asking us questions. Lurch is walking up the fairway telling him about his job at Axon, and the guy's actually asking him questions. Like, he's just the best. And he's the biggest star, I think, in the game outside of Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. He just has that star power. He's so likable to me when he's up there with his mom and dad taking those pictures. It just reminded me, even though it's the Dubai Desert Classic, even though I'm sure he's going to have some heartbreak at the Masters again, and we're going to get another picture of him holding his head over his driver and covering his head because he's disappointed. That's what I love. That's what it just brings it for me out of Rory, the fire. I love fucking Rory McIlroy. Watching him win again was just exciting for me. I don't care where it was. And it just kind of got me hyped up for this year. It made me feel like a Buffalo Bills fan, Alex Bush, where it's like you see all these positives. You're going into the early part of the year. You're hyped up. You think this is your year. You get a little bit of a moral victories. You get excited going into it. You know you're probably going to be let down come Augusta, come Pinehurst, come whenever it is. But I'm all in on the Rory train right now. And I just wanted everybody to know because I fucking love Rory.
I'm with that too. And I've been on that for a long time. But it is interesting. Like, I think the higher profile an athlete gets, the less they talk. And I could be wrong about that. That's just like a hunch that I have. But the more famous you get, and sort of the more eyeballs that are on you, I feel like there's more people telling you, just shut the fuck up, and just, we're selling all this gear, we're selling all these shoes, we're selling all this stuff that has your name and your face on it, and people look at you in a certain way, and everyone's like, don't rock the boat. Like, things are great right now. Basically, don't have an opinion on matters where people are going to be like, oh, I actually don't agree with that, so I'm actually not going to buy that Nike shirt. Like, Rory's the opposite, and that's commendable, I think, regardless if you like him or if you don't. And I'm clearly in the camp with Riggs where I love him. But there is, like, he is so famous, and people, look at him, so he's so in the fucking scope of the news, and people are like, all right, what's he going to say? And the fact that he still says things that are interesting, I think is a very important piece of Rory's legacy. I really do.
Yeah, he's definitely a needle mover one way or the other, whether
Big
you like
time.
him or you hate him or whatever. I think it's hard to hate him. He's definitely put himself in a position now to get to eat some of the crow and do all that stuff.
But most guys wouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, yeah, there's definitely the guys that the famous guys like don't go away. They're definitely like the leaders of their peers, and they're like the heads of the PGA Tour and whatever league they are in respectively. Like, they're the ones that have to answer for a lot of it because they are the best. I don't think it's that insane to think that like one of the best players, most like charismatic players, would like speak for his peers as opposed to just like, I don't know, Billy Horschel or something. I think it moves more. It has more weight when Rory McIlroy says it. So it's just like Tiger Woods and just like all these other guys.
But that was probably my example that I'm thinking of. He's not an opinions guy. At least not. He is now with all this new leadership. But throughout, he was just kind of like, I'm fucking awesome at golf. I'm not going to have opinions on stuff that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Scotty is kind of the other example of like the guy who's just golf, just golf. I'm just going to answer golf questions and not really give you my opinion. Rory voluntarily went the other way.
Tiger Woods, I think forever, dude, was just a boring interview, right? He was known as a boring fucking interview. And that was because, and we all read the book with Tiger Woods' face on the cover. Like, early on, he did the Sports Illustrated thing. He kind of got dogged a little bit like that. And he learned just to kind of shut up, like Trent said, like, shut up, win golf tournaments, say the basic stuff that you were taught in media training, wear the red shirt, and you're going to be the most famous rich guy in the world. And he was like, great. And Ricky Fowler's a great example of that. Now, Ricky is, I think, still a little bit more of a quiet guy. But have you ever seen Ricky give an opinion on anything ever? Do you see like Ricky weigh in on big, matters in golf with huge implications and get quoted, and then people respond? Half of them love him, half of them hate him. Ricky doesn't say a fucking word, and he's like a top 5, most endorsed player in all of golf. And he just has capitalized on those orange flat brims that every 12-year-old in the tournament had for 10 years straight, and Farmers Insurance, and he's Ricky Fowler, and that was it. And I think, to kind of Trent's point, like, it would have been really easy for Rory to do that, and he would be probably just as famous. He would probably be more universally beloved. He wouldn't have the haters and all the quotes that come out that he has. But to what kind of, again, makes me like plant that flag year after year as a Rory guy is that he does do that. He puts himself out there. He's candid. When you do that, you're going to be fucking wrong. Like, we do that for a living. We're wrong all the time. We have a million quotes out there where people rehash it up. They old takes expose us and we look like fucking idiots. But Rory, I respect, because he puts himself out there, and then he still goes out there and for the most part backs it up on the golf course. Like, yeah, he hasn't won a major in forever, but he's still been the dominant player. He's still gotten to world number 1. He's been top 3 or 4 or 5 in the world for 15 years straight. He won a U.S. Open by 8 shots. He won a PGA by 8 shots. He's won a bunch of Ryder Cups. So he just, for everything that he stands up there and just rips the driver. I'll never forget at TPC Sawgrass when he had that tight lead and he just walked right up to the 72nd tee with the water out on the left and he just ripped fucking driver up there. It's like, that's Rory, man. And so, the good comes with the bad with him, but I'm a Rory guy.
The only thing I'd say real quick is the majors. The majors separates him from like being a Ricky Fowler. He won 4 majors at the time when he was a super. How old was he?
25, probably. When he was
25 years old. He had 4 majors. Really hard to hide from the media and being the guy that gives your opinions when you've won 4 majors and people are saying you're gonna this guy's gonna go out after Jack and Tiger right now. Like, he's on a run that we've never seen.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna have to have opinions. I think
it's just harder.
I would say 99% of athletes don't have an opinion.
Correct, but I think it's harder to hide away from having to give your opinion when you are labeled as the guy based off of your performance on the golf course. Like a Ricky Fowler, top 5 endorsed guy in golf, very, very vibrant personality, doesn't get after a tournament, the whole media scrum is not going to him to hear what he has to say because the media scrum didn't dedicate him as like the prince of the PGA
he doesn't
Tour
get
based
asked.
off of
He doesn't get asked the
based
same
off
questions.
of his right. Like Rory McIlroy was put on that pedestal because of his performance. Like it's all encompassing. If he didn't win 4 majors at the age of 25, they wouldn't be like running to his corner of the locker room to put it in a team sport aspect. Like when Patrick Mahomes gets into the locker room, he's the fucking quarterback. They ask him the questions. You think he'd rather just be the kicker that just like kind of sits in his locker, doesn't have to answer it and still make $50 million? Yeah, I'm sure he would. But like he's the guy. Rory McIlroy was the quarterback of the fucking PGA Tour, and it's just like, all right, now this is like this cross I have to bear, and I'm gonna have to give my opinions. And he's really good at it. He's really amazing at it. But I don't feel bad that like Rory is the guy that has to give his like opinions, because when you do, like, you're gonna be right, you're gonna be wrong, and you just have to live by them, and he certainly does.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel bad.
Admirable that he gives his opinions. Like I think like they ask him for him. You know what I mean?
But he could easily not say anything. I don't
think that's true. I don't
No,
really
I think
true.
I think he could navigate his way around
For sure.
saying it like Dustin Johnson versus a Brooks Koepka. Like DJ is navigated his way to a point, whether he's just an idiot or whether he does it on purpose and he's a genius who doesn't want to have to give it opinions. Like he is known as someone that they don't even ask him questions about in-depth opinion on this versus that anymore.
Scotty's the same way.
Shit. And Brooks Koepka, I think, didn't say a word for years, won majors, started getting asked pretty tough questions, and then they were like, holy shit, this guy gives real answers. And so I think you're right, Frankie, in that those guys, he ends up being the quarterback that has all the microphones in his face, asks tough questions. But if you kind of set the precedent early on as the guy that's not going to give you shit, you know, if you're going to do the it's all in the police report version of it, like Tiger does, like, you're not going to get anything. Right. Rory, the reason I commend him is because I think he took that head on. And I think other guys it's not that easy to do, but they could navigate their way around being like, oh, I'm just the guy that sells shoes. Everybody, Republicans and Democrats buy Nikes, like whatever it is. So DJ
is the guy that just has figured out. I mean, he was like
number
one in the world.
Tiger for a long time was that guy. Tiger the world was on fire with Tiger Woods stuff, and he was just you don't get shit from him. He could have been like, I got opinions.
His opinions, he would give his opinions, and they would, even if it was very straightforward or very vague, it would hold so much weight because he was Tiger Woods, right? Like he would make one sentence or just even like a look, even a wink, and you'd be like, "Wow, Tiger Woods just did that." Like
they were trying to get anything they could out of him.
They could, they did. I mean, that guy also, right? He had like SEAL Team 6 around him to make sure that.
They would. He would give nothing burger in a 30-minute press conference, and they would comb through every part of the transcript, and they'd be like, "Tiger Woods says next year's Masters is a maybe on his schedule," and it'd be like an article everywhere, and you'd be like, "Whoa, he hasn't committed to a tournament a year away now." Like that's just what they got versus. You look at Rory's out there, he's got fucking bombshell after bombshell. I feel like that he's kind of dropping in there. So I just think that for him to do that while also backing it up for the most part with the golf clubs, I love it. I think for me too, part of it is probably, and I didn't mean to take a little ricochet shot at Alex Bush. I was on the Bills last night. I wanted them to win, but
God,
I think that it makes you love him even more the same way that you love the Bills, that Rory can't quite like get over the hump with the majors. Like you build up with him, and then you go through kind of these emotionally devastating moments with him, and it makes you feel like you kind of went through it with
dude,
him.
the 150th at St. Andrews, that was like that. I still think about that. Like he just couldn't make a putt all day he had it. And then fucking why am I blanking on the guy who won it?
Cam Smith.
He's making everything.
He lit the back nine on fire, and just that was Rory's moment, it felt like. But you're right, that makes me love him even more, because I'm just like, that was real heartbreak. And I'm sorry, Alex Bush, that was tough.
We can get into the Bills, because that's just the most disgusting way to lose again to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Bush was there.
I know, Alex Bush, you're a huge fan of this team, and they've brought you nothing but misery. And as a fan of a team that's never won in my lifetime that I care deeply about, I oddly need these types of teams and fan bases around. Like there's a part of me, a sick part of me, that was happy last night. That's like, all right, at least like that's still happening also. You know what I mean? Like you can't
be the last guy standing in the waiting room.
Correct. Like, and I love Buffalo. I love their fans. I love everything that they stand for. They're shoveling out Highmark Stadium. They're doing the whole entire deal. They're all over the fucking news. They're body slamming babies through fiery tables. It's unbelievable. And they got now Taylor Swift coming in. They're throwing snowballs at everybody, and they lose in the most heartbreaking fashion. And at some point, it's just the universe like correcting itself and just figuring out like there are winners and there are losers. And unfortunately, Buffalo are losers. Until
Oh no.
Well, Dan Rappaport moment.
We're losing. People are dropping like flies, man. Also, it was a big game for Alex Bush in a couple ways where I'm sure people know, but he's the biggest Taylor Swift fan on planet Earth. So last night it's Alex Bush's happiness versus Taylor Swift's happiness. And, Taylor Swift and the Kelsey crew obviously came through and they're going to advance. But do you have any words, Alex Bush, that you want to say? I mean, I don't want to, you're devastated clearly, but.
The Bills are fucking cursed, bro.
Wide right and all that?
Not even that. Like, at the end of the day, you missed the kick, but like, dude, just make one fucking stop. Next man up, playing well on this winning streak, and then the Chiefs just come in and Patrick Mahomes is our father, and we just can't beat that fucking team in the playoffs.
I will say,
they're 3-1 in the regular season against them, 0-3 in the playoffs.
Josh Allen is somewhat getting a pass this time around. It feels like on Twitter.
He played well
because he did play well. I know, but at a certain point, you got to win these fucking games. All right, I don't care what the stats say. It's like you got to win these fucking games. And Patrick Mahomes wins these fucking games.
Agreed.
He's going to his 6th straight AFC championship. That's all anybody's talking about. You should be scared because people aren't even talking about Josh Allen anymore. They're just like, of course he lost. That's kind of what he does. This other guy, Patrick Mahomes, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 6th straight AFC championship.
Sickening.
That's the guy we're talking about because
he's never
the guy.
He's never played in the NFL where he hasn't played in the AFC championship.
That's
the
fucking
guy.
Sickening.
Yeah, Bush. Look. There's just the Taylor Swift, the Kelseys, Mahomes winners, and then you've got you guys shoveling out your stadium, and like you got just lose.
to lose.
You guys
Just
just
It's a
lose.
cute story until they just lose. Like
Every year it's the same
it's
shit.
too good to be true. I felt this with the Islanders during that run. It's like we're at Borelli's. It's too good to be true. This hasn't happened to us. We beat the Bruins. We're going to Game 7 against the Lightning. We're gonna lose, and like you felt that too yesterday, Alex.
No,
you felt.
I didn't feel that until it was over. I
Bones.
didn't. No, I didn't. This was the no. I'm telling you, this was the year to win because the Chiefs did not have Tyreek Hill. They did not have this offensive firepower that they've had. They had a great defense. They had a great defense this year. But this was the time you got Mahomes at home in the playoffs finally in Buffalo, and you have a chance, and they just couldn't fucking do it.
That call to do that fake punt to DeMar Hamlin.
That was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Thank God
if you
it didn't
are going for
hurt
it.
him.
I know it didn't really affect anything too much. I mean, it kind of did.
Well,
because,
they fumbled after.
kinda,
The Chiefs fumbled right after it. Thank God.
True, but like just that thought process to like if you're gonna go for it, to not put it in Josh Allen's hands and be like we're gonna throw this ball as opposed to just try and fake punt it to DeMar Hamlin. I mean, how many times has a ball even gone to DeMar Hamlin his entire life? That's unbelievable if that's the call that they went for. And then just
the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
You watch back the highlights. And they got that fumble into the end zone, which was a touchback, which is the craziest rule of all time. Still, it's just nuts. Like you could, if you hold on to the ball for a centimeter over that line, it's a touchdown. But if you fumble it into the end zone, it's the other team's ball.
That's crazy.
What? Crazy. And if it goes out of bounds an inch before that pylon, it's your ball still, just on the inch yard line. Come on. So the fact that when you watch back those highlights, it was 27-24 with like 11 minutes left, and they couldn't figure out how to get 3 points in that much time in the fourth quarter at home. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. For that reason, I am out.
I mean, they're out.
They are out.
They're out.
Yeah, man. It's
golly.
It's a bummer. I was sad last night for you. And I had my own little wager placed on it. I didn't even care about myself. I got plenty of Buffalo Bills fans. Everybody does. I root for you guys. I'd like to see the Chiefs just not be there for once because they've already got a couple. It's fine. And it just sucked. It was just it just didn't feel like they were going to win, and they didn't win.
I largely
and you
agree
got the
with that.
Lions in the same playoffs
Yeah.
too. Like they're kind of taking away your thunder of
Yep.
like the sweethearts of the playoffs and the old men. They're ironing their Lions corduroys and their jackets, and like the stories are just as good as the Buffalo Bills shoveling out their stadium.
Yep.
Like you guys, it's just. And I'm not trying to be that guy, you know. It's just maybe that's just who I am. I'm a dark soul, and like I felt it. I was super sad for the Buffalo Bills last night, but it just the Lions storyline and the fact that you got like we just need what is it? The world needs ditch diggers too. Like it's as simple as that. Like the Islanders, the fucking Lions, we're all the Bills, we're all just losers.
Yep.
We're losers.
We're at the point now where I want to watch.
We are losers.
I want Mahomes to win 10 Super Bowls. Like he's.
Oh my god!
Now it's flipping the other side where this guy he's clearly a generational great. But let's just see it. Let's see how many Super Bowls this guy can win. He's gonna win if he goes all the way this time. That's his 3rd Super Bowl. How old is this guy? Is he 28? He's young.
I don't even think so.
He's young.
He's been in the league for.
He's got to be 28. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, probably started when he was 22.
Dude,
I mean, listen, the guy's fucking phenomenal. I'm a Jets fan, and Tom Brady ruined my love for New York football. But at the end of that run, I started to switch to the point of like he beat us so much that I started to be like, all right, Tom, do it again. Like go win again. Yeah. And like you're watching that Michael Jordan, that Tiger Woods of his prime. You're starting to get swept up in that feeling of like, all right, we're watching history. I'll be able to tell my grandchildren I watched that guy win Super Bowls. I went to a Tom Brady Super Bowl and watched him win. Like that's the cool shit.
I'm the other way around.
The guy got to the NFL and said, "I'm not doing anything but going to AFC championships." That's outrageous.
I loved watching him when he was coming up, when he was young. It was really cool. Now I'm fucking sick of it. I'm so fucking sick of it.
And the thing about Josh Allen being good, and Josh Allen is good, but it's starting to go where that adds to Patrick Mahomes' legacy because he's beating Josh Allen. It's like Josh Allen's so good. Patrick Mahomes did this in an era where he had to go up against Josh Allen. He beat him every single time in the playoffs.
Was he Texas Tech?
Yeah.
And Bush, unfortunately, another loss like this, it just kills all the momentum of all your tweets about like, oh, whenever Patrick Mahomes does this little toss, everybody goes nuts. But whenever Allen does it, nobody even cares. Guess what? That's because Josh Allen loses last night's game every fucking time.
Doesn't have to do with it. Doesn't have to do with that.
Alex Bush, is there a part of you that's happy that Taylor Swift, her
no,
boyfriend,
I don't give a fuck.
I
love Taylor.
She's happy.
I love Taylor. I don't give a fuck. Fuck the Chiefs.
Wow.
They have just.
Are you on record saying fuck Taylor Swift?
Nope, never said that.
Okay.
Well, it's the same
never
thing.
Said that.
So you're actually okay with her winning the game.
Yep.
I mean, with the Chiefs winning?
Yeah.
She wore a
like her team, her favorite team.
Not one bit okay with that.
Okay. So would you say fuck Taylor Swift for winning that game?
No, I'd say fuck the Chiefs because they have become our father.
I'm all right with that. I'd also not want to be the fuck Taylor Swift podcast.
No.
True.
No, I don't
want to be. I love Taylor Swift. She was awesome.
You got a lot of power right now.
Jason Kelsey.
Bush, you could just edit a good clip of Frankie like 4 times in a row, just saying "fuck Taylor Swift."
No. I went to a Taylor Swift concert.
He wants me to edit one of myself saying it.
That's I know he does, but I'm trying to get that. If he's me, you got that
listen,
power at this point.
No. I'm trying to get Alex to really say something he's going to regret, but unfortunately, he's staying strong.
I love Taylor. Come on.
Yeah. I'm stunned at that loss. I truly am stunned, and I weep for the people of Buffalo. But misery loves company.
The most stunning loss to me, and we don't have to talk about our bets all that long, but I had the Packers plus 350 to win that game. That was devastating.
They should have won that game. They should have won that game.
100%. The whole time I was like, oh wow, I think they're going to win this game, and I bet them like a couple days before, and then I was like, oh my god, it's happening, and then it was over, and I was fucking furious.
Dude, I had them.
I went nuclear, juclear, whatever the word you want to call it. I went nuclear on Mr. Ice last night. And if we're talking bets and in the Carolina-Minnesota Wild game, I'm talking nuclear. I emptied the tank. And they scored 2 empty net goals, the Minnesota Wild, in the last minute, dude. Like, I'm talking the Carolina Hurricanes were down 4-2 at home with 50 seconds left and pulled their goalie again and gave up a goal to get to a final score of 5-2 and for that game to hit. I lost my goddamn mind on Mr. Ice. Are you kidding me?
Dude, the Mr. Ice
game never should hit.
Everybody riding with Mr. Ice has been the most fun ride this season in gambling history. He had the game 3 or 4 weeks ago where it was 1-0, I think, going into the third, and with 0.1 seconds left, they scored and fucking hit it. Last night's was incredible. I think Mr. Ice called it like a 2-unit play, so a lot of people were hammering it pretty hard. But yeah, on that one, Trent Daddy, I was on the Packers, but just to cover. They had to cover. I think I had them covering like 6 or whatever the hell it was. But But yeah, so that was a game, no offense to Alex Bush again, that was a game opposite than the Bills, where I thought the Packers should have actually won that game. I don't know. The Bills should have won last night's game. Foreplay is sponsored by BetterHelp. Around New Year's, we get obsessed with how to change ourselves instead of just expanding on what we've already been doing, right? Maybe you finally organize one part of your space, your life, and you want to tackle another. Maybe you're taking your supplements every morning. Maybe you're going to the gym. Maybe you're going for a run. Maybe you're waking up earlier, later, going to bed, but whatever it might be. Now you want to actually work on breakfast, whatever it might be. Therapy. Therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. If you've benefited from therapy, you understand and get this. If you haven't, then we're telling you that BetterHelp is an incredible way to do it because you focus on all these other things. You go to the gym, you work on your golf game. Trent, people need to work on their mental health and their brain because it's probably the most important thing you got.
For sure. It's just another path to being a well-rounded human being. Going to therapy, talking to somebody, even if you don't think you need it, I think people would be surprised if you give it a shot and then you're like, oh, this is something that this is just another tool in my tool belt that I'm going to use to try to be a better person. So again, if you have your doubts about it, just give it a try, use BetterHelp. And I think people will be surprised by the results.
If you've been thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/4 today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/4. 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/4.
I almost hesitate to ask this question, but Frankie, can you give me a minute rundown of Patrick Roy?
Oh my God.
I don't know anything about this guy, but you were so excited. I was like, I don't understand why this is a big deal.
So I'll talk for a little bit and then I want to get Riggs's counterpoint on this because Patrick Roy, first of all, yes, he's got that Canadian, French Canadian.
Wait, Patrick Roy or Patrick Roy?
Patrick Roy.
Okay, sorry.
Like
it's just simply, it's just Patrick Roy. It's just you just gotta accept it. People just won't accept it.
Oh, that guy's name is Patrick Roy.
Patrick Roy.
Patrick Roy?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought we were talking about two different people.
That's okay.
Patrick Roy. It's just, it's French Canadian. That's just the way it is. Do I wish it was Patrick Roy? Yes, but it's Roy. All
right, I'm sorry. I was like, why is he starting the story talking about somebody else? I got it now. Sorry.
I know, it's unfortunate. But listen, this guy is a legend of the game. He is, I would say, probably one of the greatest characters in NHL history in terms of pedigree, in terms of personal success, in terms of his personality. This is a guy that was going back and forth. He was a goalie. Montreal Canadiens, won 2 Stanley Cups, went up to the GM and coach during a game and said, trade my fucking ass. He got caught on camera. Trade me. They said he got traded to the fucking Colorado Avalanche and won 2 Stanley Cups there as well. This guy has won 4 Stanley Cups. He is one of the greatest goalies of all time. And it's his personality. It's his love for the game. It's his energy. Nobody feels this way about this game. You've got the Wayne Gretzky's of the world. You've got all these guys that it's almost similar to like Rory, where it's like, I can't believe this guy has this type of personality in this position that he's in. He once went up to him and Jeremy Roenick were in a fight and they interviewed Patrick Roy after the game. And he goes, what did he say? I've got my 2 Stanley Cups stuffed in my ears. I can't hear a word Jeremy Roenick just said. Like, he was never afraid to let people know, like, I'm a winner, you're not, and I'm going to fucking beat you every single time I'm out here. He's notorious for being the goalie that was screaming at his team. The defense was out of position. He's like, you're not in the right spot. He's slashing people. If he liked you, he hit you in the ankles. If he didn't like you, he'd hit you in the neck if you're on the other team, if you went across his crease. Now this guy, he went to go coach in Colorado. He won the Jack Adams Award. He was the best coach of the year. They went like 30-0 when leading after the second period. He was coaching really well. Things didn't finish. Things like kind of fizzled out with him in Colorado. I don't know if he had a falling out because he was like the coach and the GM. Things weren't working. He kind of lost, a lot of fans liked him in Colorado, but things just didn't work out. And he ended up going back to the QHL. He built up this junior program in Quebec. They won the Memorial Cup last year. He's learned a lot over the last 10 years coaching. Lou Lamoriello, the Islanders are on a huge slide. He goes out. He goes, the only guy that I would ever think about firing our coach mid-year for is Patrick Waugh if he wants the job. Patrick Waugh goes out of the QHL, out of Quebec, and says, I'm back in the NHL. It makes me feel alive, he said, being a coach in the NHL. And he's back for the New York Islanders. They win their first game in overtime last night. It's just like things are happening. The energy changed. You know what I mean? Like, you're bringing in a Patrick Waugh, like one of the greatest hockey players of all time. He's the reason people play hockey. Like, certain goalies play hockey the way they play.
Here's what you need to know about Patrick Waugh. He's notoriously has conversations with his goalposts. And one of his quotes was when he would play, he said, "The goalposts are my friends, and I thank them for being my friends," Patrick Waugh said during the 1986 Stanley Cup Finals. For the game, I give them direction. The goalposts are always with me. They talk back to me sometimes. Some nights they say bing, but other nights they have a bad night too, and they don't talk. So this guy, like Frankie said, honestly, maybe the greatest goalie of all time. Absolute hothead. He would hack guys in the back of their legs and then save everything that came his way. He would say shit to the media. There is a big stereotype in the world of hockey that goalies are complete lunatics, and he is the biggest personification of that ever. And for him to then go into coaching, right? People thought once he retired, he won a bunch of Stanley Cups, one of the greatest of all time, he would just disappear into a dark room for the rest of his life. The fact that he's now out there in such a public position as a coach for the last 20 years or however long it's been since he retired, and that he's a pretty fucking good one and that players like go to war for him and stuff is great. Like Frankie said, he kind of had his run, his flash in the pan coaching the NHL. I didn't even know that he was still coaching. When I saw that came across my desk, that he was now the head coach of the New York Islanders, I jumped out of my seat and I was like, oh my fucking God, Patrick.
It's a name that you can't believe.
And that's an organization, the Islanders, just from someone that's on the outside, that you guys need some electricity. The Islanders are just Islander hockey, pretty solid trap, neutral zone trap, win games 2-1 like you've had forever and lose games in the last minute, even though you got a pretty goddamn good team. And for them to have Patrick Waugh at holding the reins is fucking incredible. So for me as an outsider, I think it's going to be like Kirk Minahan getting hired at Barstool Sports. It's either going to be like, this is going to be a fucking train wreck that you have to watch, or it might be one of the greatest matches of all time. I think Kirk's turned out to be amazing. And Mr. Barstool now, I think Patrick Waugh could turn the Islanders into a must-watch organization for the next 5 years because he is fucking awesome.
It does sound like a guy who the players are either going to love or they're going to hate. I'm sure right now they love him. But I bet he can wear thin fast, or they're going to love him and they're going to kill for him.
So I reached out to some former players of Patrick Waugh in the NHL, and I was told that they've never had a better players coach than Patrick Waugh.
Yeah.
He just gets it. He was a player. He won 4 Stanley Cups. He won Vezinas. He won Conn Smythes. He's done it all. He's won at every level, and he knows what it takes to win. And he has a way of getting to those guys' level of being like, I can take you there. Is he a lunatic? At the end of that quote that I got as an insider, did it say it's the hardest practices I've ever had in the National Hockey League? Yes, but that's maybe what the guys needed. Listen, the New York Islanders went from Barry Trotz and back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals to Lane Lambert, which was Barry Trotz's bench coach, which is like, what? What are you talking about? Like, you can't go from an all-time legendary, like legitimate, one of the best coaches in the league to a guy that never coached in the league before. You got to bring in someone that has the same pedigree. Patrick Waugh may not have the Barry Trotz history as a coach, but he's got it in the game. I mean, Trent, like this is a gif of when Patrick Waugh was coaching the Colorado Avalanche. Do you see what this guy was doing? He was trying to murder Bruce Boudreau on the other side of the fucking bench. Last night, we got a little carried away with it. The Islanders put a picture up of the coach and then the game. You couldn't see the puck. The game was, you couldn't see the puck. It was so small, but they had Patrick Waugh running up and down the bench the whole game. Dude, Bo Horvat at the end of the game says, we have to put a Fitbit on this guy to see how many fucking steps he takes. There was one point where I actually was laughing so hard I almost puked, where he was screaming at the guys. He just met them 4 hours ago, screaming at them. And then he's screaming at like Noah Dobson. Then he puts his arms around Brock Nelson. He's hugging him and he's screaming in his ear like, you fucking got this. And I'm just thinking like Brock is just Brock's got 20 goals in the year. He's like, he was an all-star last year. He's just sitting there, just playing for the New York Islanders. And all of a sudden, you've got this madness behind you. Like, out of nowhere, someone just unveiled just a fucking lion. And you're like, what? What is happening? Like, why is this guy screaming at me right now? But I can't be more excited, obviously. We needed a spark, and we got it. It's no disrespect to Lane Lambert. He just didn't have it. Wow, fun times.
Well,
absolutely fun times.
An interesting element of it, too, is an all-time goalie in the NHL. He has very strong takes on how the game system-wise should be played because he watched it for his whole career. Like, the goalie stands there and watches the fucking game from back there the whole time. So when he would lose his mind on his fellow players and coaches, it was because he was like, no, you fucking idiots. It needs to be played this way because he's standing back there in the net, watching them in the neutral zone, watching them in defense zone, watching them. So he's just like losing his fucking mind over the game and how it should be played.
He has the best seat in the house.
He's got an unreal seat. And then, when it affects him and somebody scores backdoor and he had nothing he could do about it, he would lose his fucking mind because he's like, no, you idiots need to be here doing this. You're not doing that. So for him to bring that to the NHL, it's awesome.
Exciting.
I'm fucking very excited for the
Islanders.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's very exciting. It's wild times. Patrick was a New York Islander. Yeah. It's nuts. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how this goes.
I can't
Last
wait.
thing to touch on, Tiger Woods and the TaylorMade. So TaylorMade, essentially what happened, somebody dug in deep, found that TaylorMade had filed trademarking for Sunday Red and a new logo that everybody could obviously only attribute to Tiger Woods not being with Nike anymore, potentially moving into TaylorMade. TaylorMade creating lifestyle merchandise. I'm wearing a TaylorMade hat right now. We love TaylorMade. TaylorMade got us Tiger Woods. It would seem that if you can connect a couple dots, that there's when Tiger does unveil next month when he plays in LA, what his new apparel situation is, that he could be working directly with TaylorMade to launch sort of a much bigger, unique, one of a kind, not yet seen apparel deal that involves himself, his kind of logo, and all of that. That would be amazing news for us as big TaylorMade guys. TaylorMade is maybe them and Peter Millar, our biggest partners. Truly's up there, obviously, with the Barstool Classic. Chevy was huge for a couple of years, but TaylorMade, Peter Millar, we love them to death. We're going to be with TaylorMade probably until the day that we die. So for Tiger Woods to be even deeper and deeper with TaylorMade would overall be a great thing for us. I saw people reacting to the logo. I'll be honest, with any logo, it's hard for me to tell how much I'm going to love it until I see it on something. I think people right away were a little bit underwhelmed by this logo that came out. There were some negative comments. I kind of liked it. I kind of disliked it at times. I kind of need to see it on stuff. I need to see it on a hoodie. I need to see it on a polo. I need to see it on a cool hat and all that stuff. If that's even the logo. Sometimes with this trademarking stuff, you just file shit to get stuff approved, and then you can always tweak it afterwards. I don't know all the detail legally from that. But if this is all true, TaylorMade did confirm that they had filed this. I don't think they gave like a big statement, but they kind of confirmed that it was real and true and all that good stuff. If it does pan out that people connect the dots to be what I think it might be, I think it's fucking great news for us.
Huge news. We're huge TaylorMade guys. We always will be. And the fact that our guy, who I would think like the only reason we are here is because of Tiger Woods.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason you guys started this podcast. It's really the only reason why we've gotten into that mainstream. I mean, all of the fights we've ever gotten into with old media has been about Tiger Woods. All of the biggest content we've ever done has been Tiger Woods, whether it's the podcast, whether it's watching him win the Masters, whether it's obviously doing the video with him most recently. It's always revolved around Tiger Woods. The fact that he will be so much more ingrained in the company that we are involved with is incredible. I mean, you can't ask for a better situation for us and for TaylorMade and for Tiger Woods. And it's all happy stuff, like Tiger Woods going to a competitor or someone that we wouldn't be able to work with or someone that we'd have to dance around rooting for. It'd be a nightmare because we're going to be on this ride with Tiger Woods for the next 10, 15 years as he continues his wrath on the PGA Tour. And we all know it. We all know this guy's back and what he can do. He hit it on his knees against us. It was an incredible video, an incredible thing to see in person. This guy's going to do it again. And the fact that he might, maybe, whatever, we don't know for sure, will be doing it in TaylorMade gear. Wow, that's huge. And I saw the logo too. It's like those trademarks are like the bare bones of like what you can get approved. Where it's like, hey, here's like we're gonna fax this over to you, and if you approve, like it's not.
I think that's what it is.
That's not the official thing. Like that's not. And I actually thought it was pretty.
I
cool.
thought it was all right.
Like
yeah.
a different take
So
on
did
it. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, there's like they just do it on the colors that they want to get approved too. So it's like I don't know. it's not that big of a deal. Wait until you see the full product.
It's also a huge move for TaylorMade, again, if this happens, because I think when people put out odds of like, where is Tiger going to go next, TaylorMade wasn't even on there because people weren't even thinking about that. It was all the apparel companies that you would imagine. And then if they end up doing this, what better way for TaylorMade to make a splash like that than to bring in the guy, Tiger Woods? So I hope it's going that way. It sure looks like it's going that way. And that would just be incredible news for us, as you guys have said.
Yeah, I thought the logo, even if that is the final product, was getting unnecessary shit. I was like, oh, you could work with that. It could be pretty sweet. It's a totally
Absolutely.
different
I
take
thought it
on
was
kind of the
fine.
Tiger thing. So me too. So who knows? With all that stuff, it's all a lot of conjecture at this point. But if it's going the direction that it appears to be going, that's fucking fantastic. So I'm excited for Tiger to come out in whatever he comes out in LA. But if it's TaylorMade, that's even better. So all right, I think that's all I got. I know we've got Xander Schauffele and Dan Rappaport coming up. We've got a couple videos coming out. They're going to be available everywhere, from Casa de Campo, Teeth of the Dog, iconic course down there. It's their crown jewel, so go watch those. And then otherwise, enjoy this interview. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
We're here with Xander Schauffele, world number 5. You just passed your buddy, Patrick Cantlay. He's number 6.
Okay.
Did a little leapfrog action.
Wow.
So I was telling one of my buddies today that I was going to interview Xander Schauffele, and he said he was very excited to listen to the interview because he said, of all the top 10 or 20 or 15 players, I know the least about Xander Schauffele.
It's beautiful.
So that was going to be my first question, is I kind of feel like you like it that way.
It's preference. Yeah.
You just don't like.
I'm a professional golfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
It's just not that much, not deeper than that.
I think golfing, my golf is my entertainment, so hopefully I can be entertaining on the course just from hitting, quality shots.
You're right. But you don't feel any sort of like need or desire, because people.
You can. I mean, if you're trying to monetize, social media and stuff like that, you can kind of show more. But I'm just not that guy.
You're just not.
I'm a little
about
more
it.
old school.
Yeah.
I would have been fine growing up in the 80s.
You would have been
90s.
fine.
Or I grew up I guess I was born in the 90s, but like the 70s or 80s, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, maybe.
You were 93,
Mhm.
so you're one year older than I am.
I'm an old guy on
You're
tour.
an old guy. You're 30 now.
I'm an old guy on tour now.
Yeah.
I play with 21-year-olds all the time. It makes me feel really old.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
That happened fast, huh?
Yeah.
Like you guys, I remember it was your class of 2011. That was like the thing for a while, and now.
Yeah, we used to be cool, and now we're
Yeah.
just like the old farts on tour.
Do you feel like a veteran? Are you? I mean,
Kind of. My caddy and I were just talking about it. We come out here and we see all these rookies, and it's like a bunch of new faces, and we still see all the faces that we came on tour with. But for the most part, yeah. I mean, I played in Maui. I think I was paired with Tom and Akshay, and they're both 21 years old.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah.
sick.
They have both turned pro at like 17. You've had a different journey.
Yeah, I was in school.
Yeah, so you were in school.
Mhm.
So I remember seeing your name on the top of Toyota Tour Cup leaderboards. I was way down.
You grew up
way
in LA,
lower.
that's right, you
I was,
said that.
Yeah, Southern
Nice.
California.
Let's go.
I remember I was like, how do you pronounce that name? That was my first memory of you.
Nice.
You went to Cal State Long Beach.
I did my freshman year.
What was your golf game? What was your level like when you went to college?
I actually played. It wasn't very great. We thought there was a lot of upside, of course, but I wasn't shooting like 65s consistently or regularly. Not that I do it now, but shooting like 3 or 4 under seems a lot easier than it did when I was 18.
Yeah.
17 when I got to college, I guess 18. So my parents are foreigners. They threw me in school early.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Was there other sports and stuff growing up? I know your dad's quite the athlete.
It doesn't look like it now, but I love playing soccer growing up. That was like my first love. My brother was always a runner, and he was track and field and soccer, and I couldn't run for my life, so soccer was more fun.
Was there an age where you like?
It was really young. I mean, it was like I just loved, like, it was so fun, and then
Yeah.
it just kept losing as a team, and I thought I was doing okay, and I just quit.
So you don't want to go to an individual sport?
Yeah.
Did you like it growing up? Did you love competing? Are you like? Because I don't get the sense that you're necessarily like a golf nut.
I love golf.
You do love golf.
Yeah, I mean, I played 27 holes on Monday, played a Pro-Am offsite, 18 holes on Tuesday, play about 14 holes a day.
Yeah.
Gonna play hopefully 72 holes this week.
I think, yeah. They like cut after 54, so you're guaranteed at least 54.
There we go. Yeah, I love golf though.
You do?
I do, yeah.
So like on off weeks, you'll play, you'll do your own thing.
Yeah.
You're not just...
If I can find a game to play in, doesn't matter what amount. I play with, old college teammates back at home, or young guys who just turned pro, and it's just fun.
Yeah. So we were just talking before we started. You've been moving around quite a bit.
Yeah, trying to figure out which state I'm gonna move to next.
Yeah. So I remember you were in San Diego, which is home, right?
Born and raised.
And then there was a Vegas chapter.
My in-laws are in Las Vegas, so there's 2 years in Las Vegas.
And Vegas just didn't quite cut it for you?
It's too dry. Yeah, it was just cold and dry. Apparently, everywhere I go, they're like, "This is the worst winter we've ever had." And then I went to Florida, and they're like, "This is the hottest summer we've ever had." And I'm like, where am I gonna go next?
So you were in Vegas, and then you moved to your Jupiter.
We're in the West Palm, Jupiter area.
Jupe life.
Jupe life. I took the plunge along with half the tour.
How are you liking it? How is
It's
Jupiter
okay.
life?
It's East Coast. I mean, I'm a West Coast kid, so it's flat. I like seeing these mountains in the morning. In Jupiter, it's just like you kind of got like lukewarm water and no mounds.
Yeah.
You stand on like a 10-foot mountain. It's like the highest peak in Florida. So
Yeah.
that part sucks, but the golf is good. Travel is easier. The games are incredible.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, you were saying about finding a game.
Yeah, it just keeps I remember sitting on a range with like Gary Wood. This is like 8 months ago, right when I moved there. It was like Gary Woodland, JT, Ricky, Pat, and I was like, this is a pretty elite 5-ball.
Yeah.
Probably the most elite 5-ball I've ever played in.
Yeah, it's like tour championship range.
Basically, so
I remember
that part's cool.
I remember Tiger said once that like moving to Florida really helped with his short game because like you're chipping off Bermuda all the time.
Yeah, I mean he's a West Coast kid too. Was when he was growing up, so he's been in Florida for a while now, but
Yeah.
he's pretty old. But yeah, I see Tiger medalists all the time, and it's cool to see him swinging, getting ready for tournaments.
Yeah.
But yeah, chipping off grain is something else, so I'm still learning. I've only been there for a couple months.
I'm like Kikuya is what I'm used to.
Like teed up.
Yeah, it's teed
hit
up.
it high in the face.
Exactly.
Ball
Hit,
comes
like,
off spinning.
Spinners.
Yeah.
Bermuda, you got to think a little bit more.
Yeah, you can Ecuador it pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it can be very humiliating
Yeah.
hitting off Bermuda.
Yeah, it can make you feel like an amateur really quick.
Yeah. How do you what's the state of the game? How did you feel like last year went? You didn't get a win last year.
Yeah.
But you're number 5 in the world. I mean, you've been I think I looked it up since 2020. You've been outside the top 10 for 12 weeks out of like, you've been perpetually in the top 10. You're number 5 in the world. But when I just said, what did you think of the year? You kind of grimaced a little bit.
Yeah, you just, as a competitor, you always get the juices going, which means having a chance to win. And I didn't feel like I had a lot of top 10s, but which is, testament to consistency, which is nice. But at the same time, I wasn't really like close to the lead ever. And so it wasn't as, it's more fun when you're in the hunt. Whether you win or lose, it's just the juices flow, and that's kind of like why I really enjoy the game.
Are you at the point of your career where it's just about wins, basically? Like, because you've done basically everything else.
I told you, you didn't know I was a golf nut. I love golf, and I love tinkering, and I love trying to get better. So if I can see small improvements in my game, that gets me very excited. If I can put some work in an area and see the improvement on course in a tournament, I get it. I get excited by that stuff. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna go for the win if you're in that spot.
Right.
I remember my rookie year or even my sophomore year when things weren't as like secure feeling. There'd be this little like voice in your head, or mainly my rookie year.
Should I protect the points?
Kind of. After my rookie year, I won and I had security on tour, so it was basically my rookie year. I remember like early on, it was like I tried to play like safe.
Yeah.
That didn't work out, so then I just kind of hit my F it button and then ended up winning twice, which was sort of like oh wow, I should probably just hit the F it button more often.
Yeah, I think the F it button's probably a good thing.
Yeah. So we ride that wave.
Do you feel like your personality on the golf course reflects your personality off the golf course, or do you? Because there's some guys I've talked to who are like, I am a different person out there.
I try for my sanity. I try to be consistent. Obviously, my level of focus is very different on course than off. Goofiness too. I wouldn't say I'm very goofy on the course at all, unless I'm playing like with some buddies. But for the most part, yeah, I try to be a similar person. I like to think I'm like a decent human on and off the course.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like a nice guy off and then like an asshole on the course.
Yeah.
It's not very good.
There are some people I feel like who are like.
Yeah, they go to a different place, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, to become something else, and that's how they tick. I'm still exploring, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just turn into some monster and win more tournaments.
You got that growth mindset. You're never a finished product.
The Novak,
Yeah.
I might go that route. Who knows?
Is that a guy you take inspiration from?
It's cool. I think you can learn anything from any great in the game, and from any sport.
Yeah.
There's obviously a reason they're elite. So I love watching a documentary on that or an autobiography on that or anything I can learn.
Reading books.
Reading articles.
Aren't
sometimes.
autobiographies books?
Yeah. Sorry. What a documentary or what's the film?
Oh, like a biopic.
Biopic. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be. Sorry. There you go. Thank you.
You just spaced out a little bit there.
A little bit. Thanks for the save.
The Ryder Cup. How was your experience overall that week?
So fun. My gosh. It was actually it was fun. The team was funny. We all ate in the same room, so that was cool.
There was no separate dining room for you and Patrick?
Yeah, our group chat still flows every once in a while, PC and I in the dungeon, you know what I mean? Just having dinner by ourselves.
Was that like the strangest thing ever, seeing that like happen? Or you're so used to it at this point?
Yeah,
it's
laughable.
I read a quote that you said, you were like, I know the way things get twisted. Do you feel like the media is like, not out to get you, but do you feel like you've not really had like a fair shake?
I don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just do me, and then as long as I'm okay with me, then I'll be able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
So, it was what it was at that time. It's a hot week. We're trying to win for the first time in forever. They're trying to defend with the home court advantage there. So I honestly don't think it was our team got more of a laugh like out of it than anything else.
Yeah. I felt like it breathed life into you guys.
For sure, yeah.
Because it was one-way traffic there for a while.
100%. What PC did there definitely gave us some life, and felt like going to bed that last day. We're like, come on, baby, we got a chance.
Did you wear a hat on Sunday?
Hell no.
No.
For
your boy.
Yeah, I gotta help my boy out. I was trying to get the whole team to to show up at least without a hat on. And I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah. Why did
the
whole team not do that?
Well, Brian's like, tan lines bad. My head's so white. He's like, it's gonna burn. And I was like, all right.
You guys had enough struggles that week with the tan lines with the no socks at the gala. Do you remember that?
That whole night was a bit rough.
Why? Just getting downtown?
Oh, just you just never eat enough, and you're always hungry. It's like 10 o'clock, and all you just want to do is go to bed. And but yeah, I don't even remember my.
So I listened.
Kind of rings a bell. Actually, we didn't wear socks.
You didn't wear socks, and it was like it looked like you guys were wearing socks because.
Plus, I'm sure the photo was late. Fitzy got in a car accident, so the photos were taken late. It was almost like dark, so I'm sure her feet looked even brighter.
Yeah, no, it was a bad picture. It was a bad visual.
Well, you know what? Can't win them all.
I listened to what your dad said on No Laying Up, and I agree with him. I think like if someone's making money on the Ryder Cup, shouldn't the players make money on the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, I had a long chat with him because I was like, he's like the last person I need to speak to media. I was like,
so he went rogue.
I mean, he didn't go rogue, but I was like, dude, no matter if you have a really good point or not, like it's gonna get twisted, and like he always taught me to just be really safe with media, and there's no let your clubs talk. That's what he hammered into me as a kid. Just let your clubs talk.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's the opposite. He's not a player, but I was like, pipe down, man.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
Just be easy. Like it definitely didn't help.
Right.
It didn't help at all. So
but I don't think anyone holds it against you. You don't feel like any negativity.
No, I mean I don't. He's always trying to he has really good intentions. The whole thing got twisted up, and it was like I said. At the end of the day, I really don't care that much about it.
I feel like you don't really give a shit about anything.
That's not true.
Golf.
Yeah, I care about my dogs, my wife, my family.
Right, but I'm saying when it comes to the conversation about you or the media's perception of you or what someone who doesn't know you thinks about you.
I mean, I'd be lying if I said, if all these hate articles were coming out on me, it'd probably bother me to a degree, but I would either get used to it or just crumble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's not test it out, but
right.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it's interesting for me because I'm in a new job. My old job was a lot about headlines.
Yeah.
And was a lot about, Xander Schauffele said this, we're going to use this as a headline, people are going to click on it, which is why I like having these type of conversations more because the human voice evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to be a highly sophisticated communicative device. And tone matters, and the way you say something matters.
Sure.
And so this whole idea of we're going to have a conversation with a guy. You're going to put him up there. We're going to ask him questions. He's going to answer the questions, and then we're just going to write down what he said.
Sure.
There's a disconnect there.
Yeah, I mean, it can be to someone's detriment or someone's advantage. So
Yeah. It's been very interesting being on this side of it and like understanding how the page view game works and how.
Yeah, but people like to just quick things, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't do social media, so like the only news I read is like Apple News in the morning. I'll read a couple articles, but
Right.
like guilty if there's a juicy headline, I'm clicking on
Right.
it. You know what
No,
I mean?
it's human nature.
Basically, yeah, it's just like little quick reads.
Yeah.
Celebrating 25 years of helping shoppers research, find inventory, finance, and sell cars. That's Cars.com, the leading digital marketplace that connects car shoppers with their perfect car. Doing the internet for 25 years, talked about it last week, is truly amazing.
This is where the internet really pays off. Now, people can decide where they think the internet has improved our lives the most. I think shopping for cars on the internet, that's got to be number one, at least for me. And I think I've said it before, but going to a lot, I'm like a gazelle walking onto a farm of lions. You know, I don't fit there. I can't go there. I'm gonna get hassled out. They're gonna haggle with me. I don't even know how to haggle. Cars.com makes everything way easier. You just go on there, shop for cars in a safe and regular, normal environment. For me, it's the top of what the internet has accomplished. Truly.
One of the most important things you're going to do is buy a car. That's just it. It's going to be one of the biggest parts of your life. You're going to spend thousands of hours in this car. You're going to need it to get from A to B. It's going to need to be reliable. You're going to need to like it, right? Because it's a cool part of your life. It's going to reflect your personality, your style, whatever you like to do. You need the right car for you. They add up to 50,000 cars daily to Cars.com. You can shop over 2 million cars for 2 million possibilities. Find your next possibility on Cars.com. That's Cars.com. Where to next?
So you got a new sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
I was pronouncing it. I thought it was Descente. It's not. How do you pronounce it? Descente. Yeah. How does that? Do you like let your team handle all that stuff? How does like a new sponsorship?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all. They're a Japanese skiing company originally. Yeah. They're in other sports. They sponsor Danielle King and Danny Willett for some time now. So I mean, I may be missing someone else. I think I saw Carl actually.
Hideki.
Yeah, it's through Strixon, so it's like slightly different. But yes, Hideki wears Descente clothes as well. So they've been around golf for a bit, but yeah, that's all my agent. That's all him.
Yeah.
I just literally play golf.
You just keep it as simple as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm just good at one thing.
I feel like your caddy has like one of the best job securities of any caddy out there.
We can't be talking about this. I need him to feel threatened every once in a while.
Yeah. You guys have been. Was he like your best friend in college?
Absolutely not.
No.
We were actually. I remember like picking on him when I first saw him. We both transferred in at the same time, and I remember being in this room with him, and I just remember him wearing this like this big white hat, and he was super quiet.
Yeah.
And now he just won't shut up.
Why did you end up taking him then if he was so quiet?
No, he's very responsible. He was actually working in my dad's warehouse in college just to make a few extra bucks.
Okay.
And my dad and I are sitting there. I fired my dad, obviously, as my caddy because it was just too much.
So he was at one point your dad, your coach, and your caddy.
Yeah, like manager. He was like handling, like he still handles some of my stuff from the golfing side, but like now my uncle's my agent, so they just, they handle that together.
Yeah.
Nice little yin and yang, you know what I mean? Yeah, like Austin was just kind of walking around, never threw his hat in.
Yeah.
I'm literally sitting on a table with my dad like this in his office there in Poway, and he's like, "Who are we gonna hire?" You know what I mean? I just see Austin like carrying these boxes like out of the warehouse, and I was like,
This guy.
Yeah. He's always on time.
Yeah.
He's punctual, really tedious. I was like, this could work.
Yeah.
So we made a boatload of mistakes together as rookies, which was great. We can laugh about them now, and pretty much just grew up together in this sport, like as a professional.
Yeah. No, he's one of the best out there now. Why do you think you're always in live rumors? Why do you think that's your name always pops up?
It's funny that, I mean, I've just tried, like when asked about it, I feel like I've just tried to be as like honest as possible, and I like just dodge the question.
Yeah.
Because I don't really like, I'm not gonna like pledge.
Well, that's what
to
I was
the
gonna
tour,
say, is, like,
and
there's-
I'm not like I'm the only guy. Like maybe like there's maybe a handful of guys who've done this, but like I'm not like I'm gonna play here forever.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm gonna go there forever.
Yeah.
I just say I'm here right now.
There's
which
no-
is just a fact, and then I get
There's
wrecked
no
on the matter.
benefit for you guys from a business perspective to do that.
I mean, the funniest thing is that everyone that says they're going to stay is, as soon as I hear someone saying, I'm for sure staying, I'm pledging, I'm like, you're gone.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I'm like, oh.
It just doesn't really mean anything, and like situations change,
You
and
just end up lying.
right. That's the thing, is like if you come out and you're so strong, like I think this is one of like the problems with the PGA Tour's initial responses. If you come out so strong on something, you tie your hands. You have to keep.
Try to be a little bit of Switzerland. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you think people just view that as like he's open to it, or like.
I mean, in the moment, if you're not really thinking sharp, or someone puts some heat on you, you may say the wrong thing, and then it'll come back and bite you when your mind changes. So
Yeah.
I just try to be as truthful as possible, and that's like being really safe. Just saying, I'm here now, and I'm enjoying playing here now. And then
Yeah.
people are just like, that guy's leaving.
Right. No, but that
Yeah.
comes back to your dad. You just let your clubs do the talking. You're like, I'm telling you, it's a factual statement. I am here right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm playing this week. I'm 50-50 at Farmers next week. I'll be at Pebble.
Yeah.
I'll be at Waste Management.
Yeah.
I'll be at Riv.
Yeah.
Then we'll
Those are the facts.
go back to Florida.
Yeah.
That's right.
You talked about wanting to improve. What's a top 5 player in the world targeting? Like, are you a big stats guy?
Small things, yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, if you look at the guys ahead, they all, everyone's better at driving than I am.
Driving.
Yeah, last year was a down year. I kind of picked up my slack later in the year, but I started off horrendously off the tee. So, yeah, I mean, guys like Rory, Scotty,
Patrick.
Pat,
I feel like people don't give him enough credit for how well he drives it.
I see it all the time. We play games 9 holes freaking 2-3 times a week. So
Yeah.
I get the brunt of it, when I'm playing against him, unless he's my partner every once in a while. But yeah, him and Scotty were like teetering 1 and 2 all year last year. He hits it on a string.
Yeah. Very straight.
Yeah, and far. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he'll sit. I mean, if you put him on a machine, he'll hit like 178 ball speed, like 10 drivers in a row, because he just hits the center of the face all the time.
Right. And you're a little bit more variable.
Yeah, like I can hit it further or harder, but like it may not be in the fairway like his. So
Yeah.
he'll wear, if fairways are firm, he'll be hitting like 350 on every hole because he just stripes it.
So you target not a weakness, but an area for improvement. How do you go about doing
I
it?
just lose so much to those guys. They're gaining a shot, and I was like at losing shots at one point.
So is your dad still your swing coach?
Yeah.
So then, is it a swing thing that you're working on? Is it trying to dial in equipment? How do you actually go about getting better at driving the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I've done some consultations along the way here. My dad kind of just checks up on me. I do a lot of the stuff on my own right now, with a little bit of eyes here and there. But yeah, I mean, I hired a trainer, and he was like, you just need to get stronger. If you get generally stronger, you'll hit the ball further. So I was like, all right, let's get stronger. So I took Bahamas off to give him an 8-week block and try to get stronger this offseason.
It's like serious workouts?
I mean, no, it's not like I'm doing. I remember in college we'd do like baseball or football. Like our strength coach was a football coach, and then he made us work out with baseball. I couldn't even walk the next day. You know what I mean? So like, no, when you're talking about like actual, like we're golfers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's only like a few guys out here that like do serious workouts.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
when
like moving more weight, but like I'm not gonna ever put my hat in that ring.
No, I remember when Brooks first came out, and everyone's like, he's built like a linebacker. He's built like a linebacker. And then I
mean,
remember,
he lifts a lot.
Yeah.
Like he would be, he moves, like Stallings does like aggressive cardio.
Yeah.
Where he does like, the CrossFit Games style.
Yeah.
Brooks lifts a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot more than any golfer probably.
Yeah.
Those are guys that, actually move weight.
Well, now that there's like, you guys have these trucks at every tournament, is it like, I feel like it's kind of a looky-loo, like, ooh, he's pushing a lot. Like, you guys see everybody else work out. Like, it's a weird thing.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the way I am, I'm like, unless someone's sitting there on the range with like 200 ball speed, I'm not going to stop, you know what I mean?
Right.
If like there's a couple kids who just can absolutely smoke the golf ball, I'll be like,
There's a kid, Jake Knapp, who's on tour this year.
I know Jake Knapp.
Right,
yeah.
he's a San Diego guy?
Closer to you, like LA-ish.
Yeah. He moves it.
He's a big kid. He's strong. I mean, he works out like probably more than the average golfer. And he's hit 200 probably on the meter.
You got to keep up with these young kids.
I don't need 200.
Yeah.
I just want to like be consistently like in the low 80s.
Yeah, that's where you want to cruise.
Yeah, that's a big jump. If you can be in like the low, like Scotty, John when he was on tour, Rory obviously, Pat was like high 70s, but like was just so straight.
Yeah.
He gets so much juice on the strokes gained with his
roll out.
well, no, just with the fairways hit.
Yeah.
But like there's like a threshold where if you can fly it far enough, if you hit it in the rough all day, you're still going to gain strokes on the field.
Right. So you do look at the stats and the numbers, and you have an understanding.
I do, yeah. I geek out a little bit.
You have like a stats guy who like makes packets for you and stuff.
Callaway helps me with a lot of stats.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a good
Stat department.
yeah,
That's sick.
growing
Yeah.
stat department.
How's married life?
It's good. Yeah.
You guys, is it past a year yet?
Yeah, it's going to be 3 years.
Oh my God.
On June.
Cut that.
June 20.
I knew that.
Yeah. Well, cut my autobiography part out, would you?
Biopic. No kids yet.
No, talking about it.
Talking about it.
Yeah. We're talking about it.
Just talking though, not just talking about it.
Yeah.
There's some conversations going on.
Yeah. Well, as soon as we had the conversation, I was kind of like, every morning I'd wake up and be like, wow, it's 7 o'clock, honey. I got to get to the course. Kind of how that went for like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, goodbye.
Yeah.
Babies can wait.
I got to go.
But you've done well enough where you can be one of these guys where you have like a traveling family. Do you think that's what you're going to do? Bring everybody on the road and
Yeah, I just, part of me was always, golf was always first. And so as a kid, I always put all my eggs in one basket. So I was always worried like, I see these guys who go out and they're drinking and they're chasing tail. And I'm like, these guys aren't going to be that successful because like you got to be dialed if you want to be the best. So I was like, screw it. You know what I mean? Like a girl could honestly ruin.
So did you not date like in high school or in college?
No. I mean, not a crazy amount, but I was like, okay, like, and then, I met Maya in college and I was like, all right, she's pretty cool. You know what I mean? And then we dated for, bless her. I mean, she waited around for 7 years before I proposed to her.
Was she making noise at the end?
Not really. She's smart. Yeah. She's sharp. She figured me out and she really didn't press at all. And I told her, I forgot what year it was. Whatever, 2-3 years ago it was, but I was like, we'll get engaged this year. And I literally waited till like December 31st.
Still this year?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So I think we went to the beach, and I was like, she knew basically because I was like, she's like, if he doesn't do it today, then
then the promise is ruined.
Basically. So yeah, married life is great. We have 2 dogs.
Do dogs come with you everywhere?
Trying to.
Yeah.
That was like kind of the whole deal with Fore. Like if we can swing like that 3-week stretch and we can drive to all those tournaments, it's nice. So like the dogs will hop on there and it'll be good. So trying.
And wrapping up here, what's you big goal guy? What would make 24 a success?
Yeah, I mean I feel like I've tried to go back to try not to get so results based. The years I like really care about my results a lot, I do worse versus kind of worrying about just playing good golf. So goals are always there. I mean, multiple wins, multiple majors. I'm not really super picky, to be honest.
Yeah, any of them.
Getting back to the Olympics would be big. That's a hard team to qualify for.
And getting the gold medal, it doesn't get you like the exemption, like winning a U.S. Open or a Masters.
Yeah, I like to do really well, like at East Lake too. I like to do well at all these tournaments where they don't invite you back. You have to qualify. Right,
and you want, quote unquote, won East Lake this year. You had the lowest 72-hole score.
Yeah, that's happened a few times now.
Yeah. That's your spot.
Who's counting? Kaiser isn't mad, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
That's why he's so chatty now.
They're redoing the golf course. Are you worried it's not going to be your spot anymore?
I don't know how you can make it better, to be honest.
It's just the best golf course ever.
It could have. I told Austin this could be our last year of success here.
Yeah, they could change everything. Cool. Well, thank you for doing this.
Of course.
I very much appreciate it. It's nice to get to speak to you in this setting. I feel like I've asked you a bunch of questions at press conferences, but it's nice to speak like humans.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.